Good day, fellow viewer. Glad to have you stumble upon this video. Today I'll show you some of the core elements of a modern dubstep-styled song project I'm working on. So far, I only have the main structure of the drop complete. It is a long and tedious process to attempt making a complex song with limited software. By the way, I'll be applying an effect to my voice to protect my identity. And, as you probably tell by listening to the drop I've constructed, my style of dubstep is rather unnatural, I believe. Let's just get into it. Alright, so the first bar here is a grungy little bass line I came up with. I'll play the rhythm here. So here I have three different bass sounds. A grunge, a screechy perk, and I don't really know what this is, but I called it Reese in the project. It's essentially a heavily distorted bass supersaw with a phaser and notch filter. The grunge is an FM synth I made in Sytrus. The screech, surprisingly, was made in 3x Osc. Of course, all the basses have a huge amount of effects. For the grungy synth, I added an OTT with slightly reduced depth, a chorus with subtle mix, a very short delay, a reverb for effect, not for sound design, and an EQ to balance the things out. Here's what the original sounded like. And with the effects. Now let's move on to the next bass. For the screechy perk bass, I came up with something in 3x oscillator using a low saw, a high square, and some noise. I added a decay on the volume envelope and made the pitch envelope have a sharp fall. The inspiration for this bass comes from various different sources in dubstep culture, and here I only played it twice, although it's more often to play this fast pluck several times before transitioning to the next bass. Here's what it sounds like. For the effects, I have a frequency shifter going in opposite directions on the stereo channels, making a subtle difference in sound. After that, an effector that gives very short and fast delay in order to make the sound ring out a tad bit and make it a tiny bit more present, if you will. Then a chorus comes after the delay to blur out the metallic feeling of the delay. With chorus, and without chorus. I played this with the other effects. After that, I have an OTT to make the sound hit even more. Ironically, in front of the OTT I have an amp model called Lextac, which destroys the sound to that screechy nature. Without the Lextac, it would sound like a bump sound rather than a screech. Finally, to top it off, I have an EQ. Here's the sounds. Finally, let's look at the final bass, probably my most favorite one. The Reese bass, or supersaw bass, or whatever it is extremely heavy. It is a harmor patch with a sharp pitch fall to make it sound like a kick, and has unison enabled. The unison is significantly detuned as well. In the harmor patch I have distortion enabled on log to make it really heavy. Afterwards I use an EQ to bring out the low end. Then I use Vocodex, which can have some really surprising results. After the Vocodex is an effector with distortion to bring out even more destruction to the sound. With and without the Vocodex, this effector can have some interesting effects. Here's a sound with Vocodex, no distortion effector, and all the other effects. And here's how it sounds with the effector, essentially the full sound. It has a bit less fluid-like nature with the distortion after the Vocodex. Anyway, coming after the distortion is a notch filter, which will come in handy later, and after that, an OTT and EQ. Without any effects, this is how the original sound was heard. Now let's hear the finished beat with sub, drums, and sidechain. Be aware though, this part is largely unfinished. It will need some cleaning up, and, as you could probably tell, it has a large empty spot in the last few bars. Now let's listen to the drop so far. still unfinished, but it's getting to a good start. I hope you enjoyed this little behind-the-scenes production session. If you'd like to see more content like this, or if you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to respond if you want to know anything. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.